Welcome back to Between the Ropes. My name is Hunter Dietz. This is Colt Powers, and we are going to do the second part to what we did last week. Last week we talked about the worst winners of the Royal Rumble since its inception in 1988, and now we're going to be talking about the 5 best Royal Rumble winners. So I started off last week. If you want to start off first with your number 5.
Well, I do have a couple of honorable mentions
Sure,
I wanted
absolutely.
to throw in there. For one, this isn't a winner, but since we're talking about the Royal Rumble, I wanted to throw in the 2020 Royal Rumble, Edge's return.
Oh, sure.
It's not a winner, but
Sure.
this was such a big moment, I think, in Royal Rumble history.
Yep.
After a 9-year absence, he didn't win it, obviously, but he did make that massive return. It's probably one of the biggest pops I think we've ever heard at a Rumble, maybe. I mean, it was a big one.
Yeah, for sure.
It was a big one. So
I agree with that.
that I wanted to do an honorable mention. As I said, it wasn't a winner, but the other honorable mention, just because I wanted to throw this one in because to me the build up from the Rumble to Mania, I wanted to throw in the 2009 Randy Orton because he went on to face Triple H at WrestleMania 25. To me, I mean, not all matches are, 5-star matches and all that. I thought it was a good match, but I enjoyed the build to that where like Triple H went to his house, knocked the door in with the sledgehammer, and he's standing there and they were playing AC/DC. Is like, oh my God, just the build. So some of my Royal Rumble winners, I may be a little unorthodox on how I thought these up, but I was like, you know what, this is an opinion list. So
sure, absolutely.
What the hell?
Absolutely.
So we'll go with my number 5. Because of how emotional it was, I went with Chris Benoit.
Yeah.
2004.
Yeah, and I have Benoit on my list too. Yep. Go ahead. Tell us a little bit about why that's on your list.
So, Benoit, and that was also the year Eddie Guerrero had not won the title yet. He won it the following month, I believe, at
No Way Out. Yep.
Against Brock Lesnar. But it was that, it took all those years, and I know nobody likes to talk about Benoit right now, still to this day, but you can't, I don't feel like you can take away what he did prior to his horrendous act.
No.
And, the lead to WrestleMania 20, where Triple H was champion, I'm not a big fan of 3-way matches, but I thought they did a pretty nice job of it. It wasn't the worst thing I ever seen. And the fact that Benoit beat Triple H clean, middle of the ring with a submission, it's like that was a really good one. So my number 5, Chris Benoit winning and being with the emotion with that one.
Absolutely. Yeah, and so Benoit's actually my number 5 too. He is just looked at in such a different light today that it's kind of hard to put yourself in that mindset of what it must have been like to be there live when Benoit wins the Royal Rumble. I mean, this is a guy who's obviously a very skilled wrestler, never really got his fair shake up to that point. And then finally, here's this big crowning moment. He wins the Royal Rumble. He lasts so long through the Royal Rumble, over an hour, and eliminates the Big Show last. It's this whole big thing, and then obviously WrestleMania 20 with him and Eddie hugging in the middle of the ring.
Yeah, that was a moment. And it's a tough moment to try and quote unquote erase because it involved Eddie and Chris. May not have been. Maybe not the most entertaining wrestler ever as far as, gimmicks and all that kind of stuff, but technically sound, and he had such good matches. Big one that he had phenomenal matches with was Kurt Angle. So it's really hard to erase those matches. Now, what he did, no. I mean, he can,
sure.
That part of him, I say, disappears, but that, his matches and stuff leading up to that. So there's my 5.
Well, and it has to be talked about. And so we shared the same 5. My number 4, Cody Rhodes, 2023. And this is Cody was disrespected, I feel, by the company. His first run through, obviously, he felt the same way with Stardust and all that. He goes, he rebuilds himself, he reinvents himself, he takes over leading the Bullet Club, founds AEW, all this to come back home at WrestleMania. And this huge return, he's going to be in the main event scene, and he tears his pec. And is Cody going to be the same when he comes back? And he comes back and wins the Royal Rumble to go on to main event WrestleMania.
Yep.
And I feel like that is just such a lost art of storytelling now. Is that entire Cody arc? It's not something you see very much anymore. Something I felt like you saw a lot more in the '90s and even before that. But just this hero's journey, finally coming to a close. And honestly, the reason I picked the 2023 win over 2024 is because I like that Cody lost at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
I like that all this build-up, everything I just said about the hero's journey, we're like, okay, so he's going to win the title. He's going to win the title. Oh, no, he didn't win.
Yep.
It's unbelievable to an extent.
And I had the same thought you did, but I went with 24 because I like your idea. I actually like your idea better than mine. That was you chose the one that was continuing through the journey. Mine was towards the finish of
Absolutely.
the journey. So I mean, I feel like we're both on the same wavelength here.
Yeah.
But I do like yours a little bit better than mine. I might switch that up a little bit, but yeah, definitely mine. Yeah, my Cody is number 4 just because this is where he led him to finishing.
We didn't talk about this beforehand. I wonder how close our lists are.
I'm curious how much more this is going to be.
I didn't realize that our 5 and 4 were going to be basically identical. Well, do you want to lead off with your 3?
Okay, my number 3. I went with 2001 Steve Austin. Did you really?
2001 Steve Austin is my number 3.
So that one, it was another one for me. It was another building match.
Absolutely.
So for me, I think of music when I with wrestling, and so using I think it was Limp Bizkit that year. That build up, and then once they do get to Mania, that video package leading up, but the whole time Rock and Austin singing in the middle of the ring.
Yeah.
And it was just, WrestleMania 17 was such a good build-up. I mean, I don't necessarily think that 17 is the greatest WrestleMania ever, but, you certainly had some great matches in there.
Yeah.
But the build-up to it was probably one of my most memorable, and one of the biggest ones is because of Steve Austin and the build to it. The finish obviously was a bit different than what everybody was anticipating. And have you watched CVV yet?
With Austin?
With Austin?
Yes.
And he would change it.
Yeah. Oh,
he would change.
Well, I think that might be hindsight talking 2020 because it absolutely should have been changed, and the reaction in the building and after WrestleMania, I think, says that it definitely should have been changed.
But I still love the 2-man power trip that led from that.
No,
that was.
I agree. I just think that with where Austin's character was, you could have done that anyway.
Oh yeah.
Because he was a tweener. And you talk about the finish in reference to WrestleMania, but I want to talk a little bit about the finish of the 01 Rumble.
Yeah.
Because Austin gets bloodied by Triple H.
Yep.
Pulled out and bloodied, and it's like, oh man, well, Steve Austin's here, but man, he just got the hell beat out of him by Triple H, and so, oh no, I don't know how this is going to go. And with the crimson mask pouring, and he's got the chair, and he hits Kane 3 or 4 times with it, and then finally dumps Kane over, and now Austin's a 3-time Royal Rumble winner. I mean, it's just perfect for what you could not have picked a better winner for that year. No. Anyone on the roster, it doesn't matter how good they are, that was the story that needed to happen that year.
Absolutely. That was, and that's, like I said, my picks are a little more, kind of what comes from them.
Sure.
But for, because the Royal Rumble's the build up to Mania, and it's from that moment to Mania. It's just, damn.
Yeah. Oh no, absolutely. My number 2, Triple H, 2002, and I. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Good. We might need to talk beforehand and get our list figured out next time.
God.
What we were talking about with the two-man power trip, Triple H tears his quad and has this whole long injury period where he's out. Yeah. And they start with these vignettes, and they're trying to they're trying to build back. Triple H is going to come back. It's going to be bigger and better than ever. And a couple weeks before the Royal Rumble at Madison Square Garden, the huge pop when Triple H comes back.
Oh my God, that was. It's funny. I was sitting at your grandparents' house with your dad, and we were watching. And you know what's happening at the end of the night. You know what's happening at the end of the night. But you're sitting there and you're watching the whole Raw just in anticipation. I mean, even sitting not at the arena, you can still feel electricity waiting for Triple H to return. That's why I picked my number 2, because this one was an emotional one for me as far as, Trips coming back. I think it was January 5th, I believe, at that Raw at Madison Square Garden. And like I said, the huge pop, he was jacked beyond belief. I mean, he was just wow. And the build that they used with him and Jericho through WrestleMania, I think that was just another good one. It was an emotional build. But
I do think the one problem coming out of that was, and I think this is pretty widely agreed on, is that shouldn't have been the main event that night at WrestleMania.
No.
Hogan Rock should have gone on last.
Well, and it's such a hard thing to the championship, that should be the main event. But how do you follow Rock Austin?
You can't.
You know what I mean?
Yep,
so yes, it should be the title main event. So maybe right before, or maybe have a bumper match or something right in between. But that one, it should be towards the end. Or I don't know. Do you go with it at the beginning? I don't like it necessarily. I like starting off strong, but I don't necessarily. I don't know if I like some of the championship matches kicking things off
because of the way that I feel like you would have needed to do it. Again, this is hindsight. I probably would have made the same decision at the time, but looking back, I think I would have phrased it in a way of like, Chris Jericho is the champion and he wants to get out of this hellhole, and so he wants his first match, he wants his match to go on first. They did that with Brock, I think, at WrestleMania 35, because his match opened the show. They knew it was going to be like 7 hours, and so they're like, Paul Heyman came out and he's like, Brock Lesnar is not going to sit through this entire show. He has a plane to catch. Let's get this over with.
Yeah.
I think that's probably what they should have done with Jericho, since he was that heel at that time. I mean, Stephanie's part of that whole angle too.
Yep.
I think there was probably a way to work that in, so Rock and Hogan could have been the main event. But yeah, no, great Royal Rumble, great winner. Notable from the O2 Rumble, Mr. Perfect comes back.
Yep.
How big of a surprise? I wasn't around. How big of a surprise was that?
It was pretty big. I mean, now, I will say I wasn't as... it was a big surprise, not as big as Edge. It was a big surprise, but it was like, we're anticipating Triple H right now. We're, our focus was there. But, having Mr. Perfect, it's like, whoa, but that was also an era where not necessarily always WWE. Sometimes it was WCW. You had some surprises. It was around... No, it was a year or two before, it was funny because your dad and I were sitting there at, I think we were at a restaurant or something talking, and we were like, man, we haven't seen Ultimate Warrior in a long time. And then it wasn't a week or two later, and he popped up on Nitro.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's funny how some of that happens, sure, where you're thinking of people or something like that happens. And it's like, whoa, that's pretty cool. Because during that Royal Rumble, was it that one? Was it 2 years later? They had the gimmick Royal Rumble or Battle Royal.
The gimmick Battle Royal
at Mania.
yeah.
So I mean, just being able to bring back some of those superstars and being able to do stuff with them, that I always liked that. So, you know, having Mr. Perfect come back in was good.
You know, it's actually funny you mention you start talking about something and then it happens, and it's almost like they stole my idea. In 2016, I remember vividly, I was watching the new and improved DX DVD set. You remember that one?
Yep.
And there's all this stuff with DX and the McMahons in there. And I loved Shane McMahon, but he'd been gone since 2009.
Yep.
And I remember vividly on the Saturday before Raw in January or whenever it was, saying, "Oh man, I really wish Shane would come back. I really wish Shane would come back." And Dad goes, "What are you gonna have Shane do? You know, he's back, and then what is he?" I said, "Well, he can face the Undertaker at WrestleMania." And my idea was that they'd have a street fight, not a Hell in a Cell match.
Yep.
But sure enough, watching Raw that Monday, and Shane's music hits, and it's like, oh my God, I can't believe Shane's back. How cool is that? And then Vince says, you're going to face The Undertaker at WrestleMania. And it's like, am I a prophet? You know, what is going on here?
The phones are listening and they have it patched in.
That's what it is. Yeah, that must be what it is. So yeah, no, I just thought that was fun. So whose turn? Yeah, I'll let you go for number one.
Okay, my number one was for me Stone Cold 1998, leading up to WrestleMania 14, where you had Stone Cold versus HBK. I think that WrestleMania and that Royal Rumble 2 Mania and stuff, especially with the Mike Tyson build-up, it was a pivotal point, I'll say. Sure. Again, probably not the greatest Royal Rumble and WrestleMania ever, but definitely one that it sticks out in my head so much. You know, HBK had so many problems after at the Royal Rumble against The Undertaker with that casket match when he hit his back, and he was in so much pain going into that. But I mean, you knew he was in pain, but you also, I felt, and I still feel going back watching it, even though I know what it is, I still feel he pulled it off so well of like, yes, I'm in pain, but it felt like he pulled off, I'm in pain because of what Austin's doing to me. Now, we all know afterwards he had a, kind of a blowout in the, they were having the meeting afterwards and with the press, and you could hear Austin, and you could hear HBK, and I think Shane helped escort him out, in Hunter and China. But, leading up to that, so many things happened after that, win with Austin and getting the title at WrestleMania. And then, we ended up with the new DX with, Hunter being in charge. So, again, that Rumble led to so much with Austin winning the title. And that's a iconic moment in time of that Rumble leading to Steve winning at Mania, his first title, and other things branched from that. So that was why I picked that one as my number one. Again, very memorable in my head, and again, not the greatest one ever, but it's one of my favorites leading up to, just because, like I said, HBK, even though in so much pain, did such a nice job. And then as much as I was like, I love Austin, but I also love like DX, Triple H, Shawn Michaels, that, big fans of them. Back in the younger days, I had the long hair, so I was, Triple H and Shawn. Sure. Now you'd think I was an Austin guy. So But
well, and I mean, it's interesting that you bring that one up, because that 98 Rumble's got some fun spots in it. That's the Three Faces of Foley. He comes out the 3 different times. That's a good spot. I like that. But also, after WrestleMania 14, the Raw after WrestleMania in 1998, probably the biggest Raw after WrestleMania they've ever done. Yeah. Because Sean Waltman comes back. Yep. Now X-Pac, part of DX. Yep. They introduce the new WWF title. Yep. There's just all sorts of segments. If you go back and watch that show right after WrestleMania 14, hit after hit after hit after hit, and there's no GTV gags or anything or whatever goofy garbage was going on in the 90s.
It was that turning point of Austin really changing, and I really feel like, I mean, the Attitude Era was already in full swing.
Yeah.
But I feel like that cemented it.
Yeah.
No,
I agree.
I feel like it was just, that was a grounding point for the Attitude Era. It's in full swing. It's obviously going on, but it's just like Austin getting up after winning, it's like, it's cemented now. Now it is here.
And as much as we've both had to say about this Rumble, viewers might think that we agreed on this as our number one. And we did not. The rest of our lists may be almost entirely the same. This one, though, not so much. Ric Flair, 1992, is my number one. I think this is the greatest Royal Rumble match, front to back, of any of them, bar none. Ric Flair coming in at number 3, star-studded lineup. The British Bulldog, Ted DiBiase, Macho Man's in it, The Ultimate Warrior, Hogan, Sid, all this stuff setting up WrestleMania. I truly think that match is the best match of that year, maybe of that couple of years, like 90, 91, 93, 92, in that area. It's definitely up there for me. And yeah, just Ric Flair afterwards with the belt. That's the other thing. This is the first Rumble that means something. This is for the WWF Championship. He's finally, done with the big gold real world champion thing. And now Ric Flair, shockingly, is holding the WWF Championship, something that fans, never thought they'd see.
Yep.
And, with a tear in my eye. That promo, I mean, it gets me every time.
Absolutely. And that's, that was one thought I had, because we talked last week about it, and, Royal Rumbles that, were on our list that didn't, bring anything to the table. And that was one where I was like, oh, I'm sitting there thinking and toying around with it. Is it one that I throw in for honorable mention? And I was like, I'm looking at my list of stuff, and that was the stuff that I picked. I was like, and I have a couple more that I could throw in just on an emotional standpoint and stuff. So yeah, I know I will definitely agree that one is a high point, especially that turning point of, okay, now we have a direction that we're going. Now we have, this Royal Rumble thing means something now.
Yep.
So,
Absolutely. And as we start to wrap up here, this time, like we said last week, this time is a huge time for wrestling fans. We gave our predictions on what we think is going to happen last week in the upcoming Royal Rumble, which I believe is the last day of January. I think it's the 31st. I don't know how the calendar lines up.
I don't remember.
But whatever. It's in Riyadh.
Yep.
And so I think for sure we're going to see a lot of surprises. I want your, maybe not prediction, but who you're hoping for. Who do you think would be some great surprises for this year's Royal Rumble? Not to win, but to come out and just huge surprise entrance. Or maybe close to your own heart, emotional.
I'd love to see Sting again.
Sure.
No, I think, there's been a lot of chatter, and we may have touched on it last week. I don't remember. Y2J, Chris Jericho coming in. I would, if he truly is thinking of wrapping things up, I think it would be fun to wrap up in WWE, but he also might have an idea like, I want to try every brand that I can. So he may say, I'm going to go to TNA.
Yeah.
Yeah. But so I think Jericho would be a good one to, make the appearance. I'm definitely personally not sold on him winning it, but I would like to see him make an appearance. The other one, Nick Namath, I would love to see him, and the working together with TNA, sorry, a brain freeze. Being able to see Nick, I would love to see him win it and go on, but I would love to see him, especially as much as they're working with TNA, I would love to see him come in and make that appearance and
Yeah.
and do something with it. You know, I think that would
Absolutely.
be fun. I think we could definitely be in with TNA, working with them. I think we could see the Hardys.
Oh, for sure. For sure. If nothing else, Jeff.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, either one, I'd be happy with. You know, running in, and I don't care how long he lasts, but I do think it'd be entertaining to see Santino.
Oh, yeah.
I think.
I agree.
I think he'd be a hoot.
I agree. I agree. Well, and now with Mr. Iguana in AAA, you could have the Iguana and the Cobra in the Rumble together.
I do think we'll see a few from AAA.
Yeah.
I do think we'll see. You know, if we're gonna, you know, we could almost go back to the 40-man Royal Rumble this year because of how many.
Because now there's so much. I mean, it's actually warranted this time around.
Yes, there is so many
Yeah.
that we could, you know, between TNA, AAA, and WWE,
You know,
NXT.
it's interesting. Before I give you my pick for a surprise entrant, do you know the only man who has been in the Royal Rumble in the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s, and the 2010s?
Off the top of my head, no.
Because he is my pick to add the 2020s to his list, and it's Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
I didn't know for sure, but I thought it might be.
It's Hacksaw. Yep, he has literally no reason to be in the Royal Rumble.
No.
He has had no reason to be in the Royal Rumble probably since the first one. But gosh, there's something about those old men. And actually, for that same matter, you know who would pop me even more? Bob Backlund. Seeing Bob Backlund come out and you know, give a real whipping to some of these
A
boys.
real whipping.
Yeah, I'd like to see that. So, those are my picks.
No, that's all right. That's
Yeah.
it. You know, yeah, I think I think we're in for a good Royal Rumble this year, and like we said, we have a lot of companies to choose from to bring in some really good talent, and I am very high on Matt Cardona potentially winning, and Obafemi.
Oh yeah. Okay.
I think especially since he dropped the NXT title here,
Yeah.
what, a week or so ago,
Yeah.
just after his title defense, he dropped the title. So to me, again, Matt Cardona is my personal pick, but I'm very high on Obi, and I think there's something brewing.
What a way to make a debut too. I mean, if the Rumble match is his debut and he comes in, cleans shop, and wins, and then
That's a statement.
that's a statement. That's
And
never happened before.
No, and I told you I kind of want to start doing his walk around here. You know, his entrance. Just you know,
Yeah.
I kind of like that.
He
so.
he can make it work.
He
I couldn't make
does.
it work. I'd look so fruity if I did that.
I say I don't know if I'm the one to do it, but I love it.
It's good stuff.
love
It's
it.
good stuff. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, we will meet again next week to talk about something wrestling related. I'm not sure what we're going to talk about yet.
We'll
but
come up with something.
We will come up with something. We always do. And so that's all we've got for this week. For Colt Powers, I'm Hunter Dietz. This has been Between the Ropes, an On the Go Media podcast production.